Hello again, friends, and welcome to another demonstration of SCAVENGER SV-4. When last we left off, I had exposed myself to a little over 5,000 millisieverts of radiation, resulting in an epilogue that had me able to return to Davis Station, but given a prognosis so grim that I had to rush to get my affairs in order and found a museum of the artifacts that I had collected on this expedition. So at this point, my ship is already loaded to capacity with artifacts, and I'm slowly letting the radiation do its work. You can see that the red in the corners of the screen has spread further and is pulsating. And if you listen carefully, you can hear that heartbeat. Let's see what we have for a dosage now. Okay, and I'm showing a dose equivalence of 5,266 millisieverts. Aggressive growing tumors dispersed throughout entire body. All bone marrow deceased, necrosis of gastrointestinal tract, extensive genetic degradation, immune system completely compromised, and blisters. So this is pretty bad news. So right now, all I can really do is just wait and see what happens. To just keep checking my dosage. Looks like my bunk terminal needs a reboot. Let's reboot that. While that's rebooting, let me check the auto dock again. Okay, currently at 5,400 millisieverts. And if you notice, my vision is listing to one side. Let's see what my dose is now. Okay, it's getting worse. I'm currently at 5,666 millisieverts. And the prognosis seems to be the same as the last several times I've checked. The aggressive growing tumors, all bone marrow deceased, genetic degradation. I don't think it gets any worse than that. So I'm gonna wait until we get to about 6,000 millisieverts. And okay, so we can see that I'm at 6,000 millisieverts, or 6 sieverts of exposure. The prognosis hasn't gotten any worse, but you can see that my vision is getting increasingly red and hazy, and I'm listing a little to one side. This isn't good news. So I'm going to take a moment and save my position, and then we'll end the expedition and see what effect this has on the ending. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Time for us to leave and see what effect this has on the ending. I have a bad feeling about this. Here's where it gets really bad. He did not survive the return journey. ISC-275 Wizard 2 arrived at Davis Station via autopilot as a dangerously radioactive ghost ship with no living crew. Exploration of the derelict ship revealed a hideously blistered corpse behind the glass doors of the autodock, and even more shockingly, 22 sample cases aboard containing priceless alien relics. The sheer value of the recovered objects prompted a major investigation into the matter. The ship's official registry papers were able to identify the corpse as that of Dr. Eric Pearson. Rough drafts of a research paper found aboard included a set of coordinates. An eventual survey to those coordinates rediscovered the alien world and put Eric Pearson's name into the history books, albeit posthumously. So, I died of radiation, putting my multiplier at 5%. So that's a pretty ugly way to go here. And I don't think continued exposure in increments is going to improve on this much more. So, in a minute, I'm going to load another saved position where I demonstrate what happens if you actually die of exposure on camera. So, thank you very much, give me a moment, and I'll be right back. Okay, folks, this is the end game. You can see that we're in really bad shape. Our vision is listed to one side, it's red, it's hazy, and you can really hear that heartbeat. Let's check the auto dock. You can't even hear the med scan run. We're at 7,733 millisieverts, and the post-treatment estimation isn't even showing any possibility of mitigating this. This is in bad shape. Now we're at 7,733 millisieverts, and I can tell you from my previous run-through, 8,000 is fatal. So once we hit 8,000, it's all over. We should be getting there any minute now. $7,800. $8,000 millisieverts of exposure, and that's it. Ultimately, Eric Pearson died alone, exposed to a sufficient dose of radiation to kill him outright. The Wizard 2 is forever his silent tomb. As the years pass, his mortal remains become increasingly radioactive. Deceased with a 5% multiplier, but 0 score for objects recovered because I didn't make it back to the station. So there it is. That's the final, ultimate end of the game if you let radiation go far enough in this game. So let's take a moment and review over the past few episodes I've recorded. At 493 millisieverts of exposure, that was considered a minor brush with radiation, but still considered perfect health at 100%. At 1,066 millisieverts, that put us to 98% on our health, which was considered near perfect. Going further, at 1,933 millisieverts, that put us to a score multiplier of 87%, and that was considered good health. Moving on up to 2666 millisieverts, our health went down to passable at 73%. Going a little further, we went to 3933 millisieverts, dropping our score multiplier to 41%, and poor health. Now, for all of these, the epilogues were still pretty decent. They still presented scenarios where we were able to retire fairly wealthy. But then when we got up to 5066 millisieverts, the score multiplier went to 7%, showing terrible health. The epilogue there showed that I had a terminal prognosis, I had to get my affairs in order, and that's the best I could hope for, is to leave a legacy. And then at 6,000 millisieverts, the score multiplier dropped to 5%, and the epilogue reported that I died in transit to Davis Station. And now, you saw that at a fully fatal dose of 8,000 millisieverts, or 8 sieverts, I just plain died. That was it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's it. So there you have it. There is my full run of deadly radiation exposure on Scavenger SV-4. So I would like to extend my thanks once again to MasterBasher for inspiring me to do this run. And as I've said several times before, I humbly ask you to donate to the American Cancer Society. I've included a link in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next game. Eric Pearson, signing out.